I hate the Sabres because we last left off very excited discussing this run that the Sabres were making. Even though the Sabres weren't playing that well, they were finding themselves within striking distance of the playoffs. Pete was back on the side of I have believed in the Leafs. I'm sorry, in the Sabres every step of the way. All you jumped ship, not me. They're making the playoffs. Sean was cautiously optimistic. I was like, we need this. Let's get the Sabres in the playoffs. We had just rooted for, I believe, the Oilers to beat the Capitals, and the Oilers did it. They smoked the Capitals. Next, we needed the Coyotes to beat the Red Wings, which was a little less likely. And god dang it, on Thursday, the Coyotes did it. They were setting up the Sabres to make this run we needed them to make. And then on Saturday, in a must-win, gotta have it matinee against the Red Wings, who had lost 7 straight games, the Sabres died like a dog. They were horrible. They get a 1-goal lead, and they were just so soft down low. It was very, very upsetting to watch. Where are you on the Sabres now, Pete?
Doesn't sound like the Sabres I know, being soft down low, losing in a big game when the lights are bright. Doesn't sound like the Buffalo Sabres. No, I mean, like, they are who we thought they were. It's the Sabres. If you get up for the Buffalo Sabres, you have what you have coming to you. And I say that as somebody who got up for the Buffalo Sabres. When they lost to the Red Wings on Saturday afternoon, I came away being extremely disappointed, but extremely well, of course they fucking lost this game. Of course they did. They're the Sabres. And not only did they lose, they lost in the most pathetic fashion. They didn't even show up. The last 40 minutes you said it in the text chain, the last 40 minutes of that game were fucking pathetic. And it goes back to the big problem that the Sabres have faced for a large portion of the past couple of years. There's no consistency there. They can string together 3-4 straight wins, even if they're close wins, and then they'll lose 3 or 4 in a row, and they'll lose games that they absolutely need. And they just love making it interesting down the stretch and then falling apart when they need to win the games that they need to win.
I was very, 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 very deeply annoyed because now the Sabres have been surpassed by the Penguins. They're now 6th in the wild card, 6 points out. Sean with the beautiful playoff picture. I mean, it is not looking good even at all. You could see right there that Detroit technically has the lead in points over the Capitals, but even the Capitals are alive. The Penguins are alive. I mean, it is a lot of teams, and right now, the Sabres would need to jump 4 of them with 14 games remaining in order to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's super, super unlikely. But the thing that they have going for them is that all of those teams are garbage, including the Sabres. The Eastern Conference wildcard race right now is a fucking mid-off. It is crazy. All of those teams stink. Sean made the point, they only lost 1 game. There's a chance in 2 days we could be back talking about the Sabres making the playoffs again. And I think that's true, but they absolutely needed to win that game against the Red Wings because it's direct competition for that wild card chase. And obviously the Wings are playing terrible right now because Dylan Larkin's not in the lineup. But when you look at the Sabres' remaining schedule, it's kind of a gauntlet. This week they're on a West Coast road trip. They have the Kraken tonight. They have the Canucks. They have the Oilers. And then they have the Flames. All those teams on the West Coast road trip this week. Then they come back. They play the Senators. That should be a winnable game. They play the Devils. That could be a winnable game. But then they have the Maple Leafs, the Capitals, the Flyers, the Red Wings, the Stars, the Capitals again, the Panthers, and then the Lightning to close out the season. So they've got a lot of good teams coming down the stretch here, with a few against teams that they're going to be in the mix against with the wild card. So there's a chance, but they're going to have to fucking earn their spot, and I just don't see them doing it.
You know who I think has the easiest road?
Who?
The team that technically by points percentage is the number holds down that wild card spot right now. The Washington Capitals. They beat the Canucks in Vancouver on Saturday. They've won 2 straight, which for this group of assholes is very impressive. By points percentage, they'd have the second one.
Can I stop you? Can I stop you? The Capitals are not assholes. They're just
Oh,
so uninteresting. Like, they're not
they're
assholes. There's
assholes. They
nothing
sold.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with the Washington Capitals. They're just fucking old and uninteresting.
So they're bad then. Maybe they're not assholes.
Yeah,
But they're
right.
bad.
That's essentially what I'm getting at.
Okay. This becomes a whole new thing. Can bad teams be assholes? Or do you just have is
Bad
it like
teams
the
can
US
definitely be
Embassy? They're
assholes.
off limits.
No. Bad teams can definitely be assholes, but not every bad team is an asshole team.
I agree with that. And I would
Yeah.
say that, yeah, I guess I called the Capitals assholes in like these useless assholes.
Yeah. I agree they're useless. I have no time for them.
By points percentage, they'd have the second wild card spot and make the playoffs if the season ended today. I said they have an easy path. They finished their Western road trip tonight versus the Flames. We'll get to the slate grade later. And then they have 4 straight home games. So if they want to, they can get moving here and solidify themselves as being in the driver's seat. I would like to remind folks of a conversation that the three of us had. I've included a little back and forth that Sean and I had. But let's just say, for what little you might hear of Pete was right in my pocket on this. Big time agree on the Capitals. Here was our assessment of them like 4 days ago.
The Capitals making the playoffs would be the most get this team
Oh
out of my
God.
fucking face team in my sporting existence.
I would be so in on it.
What?
Only
My
because
God.
like most of the teams in the Eastern Conference I hate. It would be awesome to watch either the Leafs or the Bruins like have their dreams crushed by the Washington fucking Capitals.
But Shaw, that's the thing. They could only disrupt by being there. They would dash nobody's hopes. They would be food. The Capitals would be such fucking food.
I mean, I didn't say much there, but I think my reactions to a couple of the things that were said say everything that needs to be said. Me, like, agreeing with you with the Capitals, and then Sean being like, I would root for him, and my outright disgust at him showing support for the Caps.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we do have to revisit, though, Sean's point on being all in on the Caps. If they make the playoffs, can they be disruptors? We wrote them off immediately as, if they get there, that's all the fun we get out of them, because they're not going to win. They're going to get fucking steamrolled by whoever they play. If they get a little head of steam here, take advantage of, let's say, Flames tonight. This, I want to say 5 of 6 are at home too. After this, can they feel themselves, get a little momentum, even get a little do it for Ovi?
No.
I can't
You're not going to trick me into believing in the Washington Capitals.
Yeah,
they're not good at anything. You look at you run down the list of like their 5-on-5 ranks, or their ranks as a team. 29th in goals for, 27th in expected goals for, 28th in Corsi for, 23rd in power play goals, 28th in finishing, 22nd in goals against, 23rd in expected goals against, 23rd in Corsi against, 19th in PK, 20th in goaltending. They don't rank above 19th in any category on the board. Nothing. That's horrendous. That team should not be anywhere near a playoff discussion.
Sean, what do you say for your boys?
All I can think is that, like, if you're a Bruins fan, because right now, I mean, obviously the points percentage makes things weird, but like right now, the Boston is the 1 seed in the East.
Roof of the Cap's so bad.
Oh, you're telling me that there's like I've heard how Boston fans have talked about this team, and they treat the Bruins like they're a borderline playoff team, as if they don't have the most points in the NHL or up there. But like, if Bruins fans are going to be nervous, and I understandably so, like, there's no winning for the Bruins in that situation if they end up playing a team with the Capitals. And DJ mentioned the do it for Ovi thing. If I'm a Bruins fan and I see the Capitals, I get nervous because they're like the Bruins.
No way.
It just seems like there's no winning for the Bruins, and if they somehow lose that series, which I feel like a lot of Bruins fans think they might, because again, Bruins fans talk about the Bruins like they're a bad hockey team. I'd be here for it. It'd be a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, like, the Bruins and Bruins fans should be nervous about no matter who they get in the first round, just based off of just a general vibe check.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Capitals, if we're ranking teams that I would be worried about as a number 1 seed, The Capitals are like maybe last, maybe
Which is why you
second
should
to
be
last.
worried.
No,
Yeah.
like the all right. So let's look at the teams that are in the wild card race right now, like with the second wild card and then the three below them. You got the Red Wings, you got the Capitals, the Islanders, the Penguins, and then I guess if you want to throw the Sabres in there, you can. If you're power ranking those teams as to who you would be worried about as a number one seed, who would worry you the most?
Red Wings.
It's an easy number one for me.
Red Wings.
The Red Wings. The Red Wings have proven that they are a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde team this season, where when they're very good, they're awesome. And they play with like a really high intensity. They play with a lot of speed. I think that they could give some teams some tough matchups there. Beyond that, I think it's a mid-off. But like, you know, obviously the Red Wings are really bad recently, especially without Dylan Larkin in the lineup. But if they get hot at the right time, I think they could cause problems.
I made this comparison last week. I could totally see Ovi being in a Jimmy Butler stage of his career where he's not doing this shit unless it matters. He's not trying unless it counts. And then he gets to the playoffs.
He's got the goal chase, man. He's got to be trying.
Yeah, true. But like, the goal chase, you could argue they might not really be playing great hockey in the name of trying to get him goals. Gets the playoffs. If he decides, oh, I kind of want to win another cup, he is still the greatest goal scorer of all time. So,
could you apply that same logic to the Penguins though, where Sid has some like, you know what, you motherfuckers are sleeping on this season that I'm having, and I do have some old friends who have had some great careers, and we're gonna kick it into high gear. We held on to reigning Stanley Cup champion Riley Smith. Say what you want about him, guy knows how to win. Let's go, boys. Any belief there?
I feel like that we've been burying the lead a little bit with like the Penguins being in this discussion after how much we've talked about the Penguins just being an embarrassment to the NHL over like the past 2 months. And it's crazy. Like the fact that team's in the discussion. This is for like, I feel so validated after how much we've talked about like the Eastern Conference just being dog shit beyond like 2 teams at the top. The fact that we're having this discussion and then talking about the playoff picture with these fucking teams that we've been humiliating all year long, it's awful.
I do like this little conversation though about these kind of a-holy bum-me type teams that are going to get one of these wild card spots. I think that ultimately the most deserving would be the Red Wings. The Red Wings have taken that next step. They are the best of the teams, but it would be fun. I don't know, like I wouldn't hate, this sounds crazy, I wouldn't hate if the Penguins got in there.
Same, like I think there'd be intrigue with the Penguins more than maybe the Capitals, or like if we're not getting the Sabres, I would take the Penguins because you're still getting Sidney Crosby, you're still getting Malkin, you're still getting Letang, Carlson, Tristan Jarry's having a great year. Like the top of their lineup is exciting and can take over games. It's just the depth that it's like it's going to kill them. But like at least they would provide some intrigue in the first round. Like the Islanders and the Capitals just don't really move it for me.
We all silly like the mayor.